Hello, welcome back. I know there are a bunch of you out there that were waiting for this one. We are getting back into Lake of Voices. So, what I've decided to do in this run, after a couple of people who have been watching the videos, I have decided to skip basically a lot of the text, mostly in the beginning. There's a lot of stuff that will be reread, but I've been told that skipping text does not skip over things that you have not read before, and it does not skip over decisions either. So with that going, what I've decided to do is for this run, I'm going to skip the first half, or at least most of the first half, until we get to our objective. And today, what we're going to go and do is we're going to have the objective of having Lou in our party. Now, if this is your first video, I don't think that this is the video for you. Please go back and watch either the first video or the second run. First one is the safety run, which is much shorter, but the second one has much more of the story, and that one is the altruistic Kikka. So we make choices as we go along, and in this one, what I'm going to do, because we're going to go with Lou, I've decided to make this a Lou-only run. So, unfortunately, Bemelle, who apparently seems to be a fan favorite right now, and also Margaret are gonna die. I'm very sorry for this. If either of them are your favorite characters, I'm sorry, but this is how we're gonna go. Don't worry. If you are a Bemelle fan, you still have Bae Bemelle. That run is still up. If you are a Margaret fan, we're going to do that one next. But for today, we're gonna do Lou. And yeah, I don't know much about Lou, but what we're gonna do is we're just gonna get into it, and yeah, hopefully we'll learn a bit more about both Lou and the story that goes into Lake of Voices. I hope you guys are really pumped for this one. I know I am. I'm really looking forward to see what goes on, and here we go. Okay, so I noticed here, page up key returns to previous text or choice. So that was a very important one. I did not know that you could go back a screen, because if you go straight to the choice, you don't always know the context of what the choice is for. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and, let me see, we're going to skip the text. And here, we're going to say nothing. No, wait. Yeah, we're going to say nothing. That one was to, I think, to start off ingratiating you with either Bemelle or Margaret. But as I said, both are going to be gone. So I'm sorry, but that's where we're going. All right, so we're going to keep going. And we got to say, we got to go.
I believe you.
We're going to go. Because if you choose the other one, to either not say anything or to... Oh, I forgot what the option was. But if you don't say that you're not going to go, you're going to go into the safety run. So we're going to keep going. And then... Oh, wait. Page up. Bemelle places a gentle hand on my shoulder.
Thank you.
Oh! This is the one here with... Right? Wait. I'm sorry. Okay, so this is where they've decided whether or not they're going to keep on going here. So this one ingratiates us with Bemelle because we put a hand over his, but if we nod seriously, I don't think that does much of anything. So since he's going away, I'm sorry, but that's where we're going. Oh, wait. I guess this is new text for me. So, Bemelle's face hardens in return. He moves his free arm down. I fully link his arm with mine, and now properly settled, look forward. Okay, yeah. So, this option doesn't... We do not get closer to Bemelle with this. So... I guess if you were to try to not get close to him, this is an option that you would pick. Margaret is following the guide with some reluctance, turning back every so often to check on us. I wave my lantern to signal we're catching up. I think this is all, yeah, this is all same. And we're gonna let Bemelle go. Sorry, for context here, this is the section where something happens. I forget exactly what happens, but Kikka turns around and sees that the prowler that was behind Bemelle is right on top of him. And at this point, we have the option of pulling Bemelle toward us and away from the prowler, which puts Kikka, or us, into a position where we have to fight for our lives. And I've not seen this choice before, but I believe probably this is a way that we get Bemelle to bite the dust on this one. So I'm going to read this. It lunges at Bemelle. It hits its legs and he goes down, taking me with him. Oh, we go down with him? We slam against the bridge, our lantern's light blinking out as it hits the wood. We're engulfed in darkness and fog, and before I can do anything, a Nix reaches out from the edge of the bridge and clings to Bemelle. It pulls hard, separating the two of us. Bemelle quickly slides nearer the edge as the Nix retreats. Bemelle struggles to loosen the monster's long fingers from him to no avail. Yeah, because the guide said that your natural instinct is to, like, pull at, people next to you. But this isn't exactly what happens here right now. But we do know that the Nix, the Prowler, has gotten a hold of Bemelle.
No!
I lunge forward, but my hands only slap the surface of the bridge. I try to crawl closer, yet I can't keep up with the rapid pace of the horror playing out in front of me. Margaret rushes over to me, bathing me in her lantern's light and scaring away another Nix at the surface's edge. The Nix with Bemelle likewise dives fully back into the black waters, dragging him completely off the side.
Bemelle!
Oh, yep, I was right. This is where Bemelle bites it. Yeah, as we find out in earlier runs, if you pull Bemelle forward, you can save him, putting yourself in danger, but we're able to knock it off. But man, to have the inkling or the idea that this is what happens, but to see it play out, it feels different. And after some of the past runs, I do feel like a maybe not a kinship, but like a liking toward Bemelle. He seems like such a cool guy, you know? He's like one of those, he speaks his mind, or his mouth is faster than his mind, but his heart's in the right place. Oh man, to see his hands like that. I scramble to the edge and Bemelle is there, flailing to keep above water. Before I can even extend a hand towards him, he's violently yanked underneath.
Bemelle!
Oh, look, and Kikka's crying too, dude. Oh man, this tugs at the heartstrings though. The surface of the water grows still again in just a few seconds, as if the entire altercation didn't happen, as if Bemelle hadn't just been taken, as if he'd never been here in the first place. I stare down at the void in disbelief, a clicking, cluttering sound, like the whining of cicadas, erupts around us. The Nixi are laughing. A hand grips my shoulder. The guide pulls Margaret and I back over to the center of the bridge, grabbing my lantern and holding it in front of my face. Oh, give me a second, guys. So yeah, the Nixi, they're playing mind games. They took Bemelle, and they know that it's hurting Kikka. I mean, it's obvious that she's crying, but I mean, these are creatures that we don't know anything about, And for them to see that and understand that she is hurt, and to like just turn the knife just that little bit more and push her over the edge so that they can get her in addition. And Margaret, I mean, her first instinct was to come over and help. God bless her soul, because at first she seemed like she was such a bee, but it was just a front trying to be strong. And we can see that here, at least a glimpse of it. And and the way this reads right now, I haven't continued, but the way this reads is that the guide pulls both Margaret and Kikka back, and he grabs the lantern and puts it in front of her face. Depending on how he addresses the circumstance at the moment, it says a lot about him. So if he's nonchalant and says we have to keep moving because this is just what happens, then it's like, bro, you've got no feelings. But I have had it in my mind for the past several runs now that maybe the guide is like maybe either some kind of ghost, or he is a tool used by the Nixi to make people feel comfortable enough to try to cross in his presence, that they have a chance to eat people. Or perhaps he's like someone who died crossing the bridges, because in an earlier run we learned that his father died crossing the bridge, and maybe he also died on the bridge, but because he is like he has such strong feelings of resentment because his father did not think favorably of it. Maybe he's got like this hatred or this disappointment that keeps him around, and his job now is to like feed the Nixi. Or perhaps he is a ghost who's trying to prove himself to make his own I don't know, ego, his own id, to feel more at ease, like make himself feel more justified for being a guide, trying to get more people to cross. But that last one I don't think really suits it, because as we get further we find that he is fairly cold, like very cold actually. All right, sorry about sorry about the conjecture there. It's just yeah, we don't, or I don't know much about him yet.
Relighted. We're moving forward.
Yeah, nonchalant, cold, stone. He's just like, let's go. This is just what happens. I stare at the lantern, unable to move.
What happened here? It didn't happen. Not until we reach the shore. Pretend he will be there on the other side. Whatever it takes.
Actually, that surprised me. That really surprised me, actually. Now, what he said here can be taken one of two ways. Either he's stone cold, like, do what you gotta to get to the other side because I don't want to be held back, or he's giving her hope, or at least a faint light to look forward to get her across, to get her to safety. Now I'm all confused again. I thought I had an idea about the nature of his character, but I guess I still don't know yet.
Get up.
Whew, get up. I rise to my feet, barely conscious of what's happening. Margaret helps stabilize me. The guide holds out the lantern again, and this time, I take it. My free hand slips into my pouch, pulling out a box of matches. I get one out and hold it up in front of my face. I can't seem to figure out what to do next. Margaret gently takes the match from my hand, relighting the lantern for me. As the light bursts to life and shines across her face, I feel like crying. The guide nods and begins forward again. Stiffly, I follow. the box of matches crumpling in my grip. Margaret, now sure that I'm as okay as I can be, catches up to the guide, but remains closer to me than she did before.
What happened to the other lantern?
The one that Bemelle had? Forget.
It was taken after the light went out.
Okay, yeah, so that was the case. What conversation there was, or could have been, gets no further. It barely penetrates my mind. Margaret hovers nearby, watching me with clear worry on her face. I want to say something, want to reassure her, but I feel like I'm barely even in my own body. Nothing feels real. I can't accept Bemelle being gone. I can't accept that he's gone for good, just like that. He can't just have disappeared. The guide's words float through my mind, and it's remarkably easy to believe what he said. Bemelle will be waiting for me on the other side, or maybe he'll be in the tavern when I make it back home, clapping me on the back and commending me for a job well done. He'll be laughing and drinking as he usually does, starting with fuss with the other guards. He can't just be gone. It can't be that I won't see his face again. A dim, unusual noise penetrates the fog of my mind, and I realize Margaret is trying to talk to me. Her words sound far away, like she's speaking through a tunnel. She smiles nervously at me. I only look at her. The smile slides off her face. Instead, she stays by my side, walking forward with me.
Huh?
Yeah, Kikka just lost someone. Now this person, maybe, I don't know, it's like a coworker, a colleague, but, you know, I feel like there was like a little spark of something extra in there. But now she could never know. She could never pursue. It's gone. And this stranger that she's met, Margaret, is trying to console her. Not because, I mean, even if it were you and you came across a stranger and you watched as like a part of their life was taken away from them right in front of you, you would probably do the same too, right? Isn't it human nature to see someone who's in distress to such degree that you feel like you have to reach out and try to help them along, prod them into keeping moving forward, especially in this instance where everybody's in danger? Oh, man. And Kikka's really out of it right now. Like, she's beside herself, almost literally, almost beside herself. Just like she's doesn't feel like she's there. She's outside of her body as if she was an onlooker. Honestly, when I started this run, I did not think that it was going to be so heavy so far and so fast. I thought, okay, you know, yeah, it's going to be sad, but just looking and seeing Kikka crying really hits. And then, man, they had the little picture with Bemelle's arms trying to reach out, trying to be saved, trying to look for help, and it's just woo. And the music, man, that just really brings it right to the forefront. Oof. Something is pulling on my arm. Warmth penetrates my cloth armor, and the feeling grounds me slightly in my body. Margaret is whispering to me, pulling me forward and pointing at the guide. My eyes follow her finger, and I realize the guide is getting further away.
He's moving faster.
Yeah, he's moving a lot faster. And then I snap back into awareness. Danger is still afoot, and Margaret is still alive. Shame trickles down my neck. Shame for having lost my wits. I'm not supposed to be this way. Wow. Survivor's guilt, man. It's real. Survivor's guilt is real. But not only that, but she's a protector. She's a warrior, a soldier, a guard, or I don't know the exact nature of what she does, but she's like someone who keeps the peace, someone who fights for the right, and she just couldn't save someone that was close to her. And I'm sure that really just is killing her. It's just killing her that she couldn't do anything about it. I double my speed, feet pounding hard against the wood. The sound and the rhythm soothe me, enough to fully clear my mind.
Thank you for telling me, Margaret.
I say it quietly. So quietly, I'm sure she can't hear. But as Margaret runs past me, getting into her original position, she pants in response.
You're welcome.
Man, this right here really brought these two closer. I don't know if this is what I was missing in the altruistic Kikka, but I think when I do my Margaret run, it looks like I think this is the way I should be doing it. Is I should do this, because Margaret right now, she's our girl, she's our homie, she's got our back right now, and I'm sure right now she's just dropped her guard. She was trying to act like she's got game. She's acting like, she's from the hood and all of that. But right now, she's just being human, being a bro, We go faster and faster until suddenly we're full on sprinting across the slick wooden boards. All right, I think this part I've seen already. And this next part is where we're going to lose Margaret. I'm sorry, homegirl, my home slice, but we made this decision early on, and now, like, having gotten as close to her as we did just now, I honestly feel really bad about it. Like, I can't believe we're gonna do this, but we're gonna do this. Are you ready? Give me a second. Okay, we're gonna skip the text and we'll go straight to it. Alright, so we're gonna turn. I make a hard turn, following the guide and leaving Margaret at the rear. Yeah, because to remind you guys, just so that we're all on the same page, I'm gonna keep doing this, but the guide, he was expertly turned a corner onto a different path, and he did it so quickly and suddenly and so deftly that Margaret barely even noticed that he turned, and she just kept going straight. But going straight's not the way that he was going. But we just chose to turn with him because we saw it happen with enough reaction time that we were able to make that turn. So I know exactly where this goes. If you don't know exactly where this goes, Margaret, she's a goner, unfortunately. So I'm gonna skip forward, and I'm sorry, guys. I start running again, leaving Margaret flailing in the water behind me. Oh my god! Oh, look at this picture, dude. See, here's her hair and her hands. She's grasping at the Nix, at this prowler, trying to... Yeah, she got dragged into the... No, she didn't get dragged. She tried to jump across a growing pit. A growing... The path was falling apart behind her, so she couldn't easily get back onto the correct path with the guide. And she tried to jump it, but she did a terrible job. She jumped higher than she did lateral, and so she ended up in the water, and now the Nix have got her. And I feel so bad for her right now. I feel so bad that we even made this choice. I feel real... Oh man, I did not think it was gonna be this, guys. I did not know it was going to be like this. Okay. Let me regain my composure. I start running again, leaving Margaret flailing in the water behind me. I don't want to watch this. I know exactly what will happen to her now. Margaret's anguished cries pierce the night. Then, the screaming stops. My legs grow weak. It isn't right, but I push myself to keep going. I try to focus on the pounding of my feet, but my brain won't cooperate. Instead, I imagine Margaret's terror as she's clawed to pieces by the Nixi. After everything, I didn't help her. We left her in the dark. As the night wears on, our strength rapidly fades. How much longer will this last? People have to rest sometime. Almost as if in response to my thought, the guide abruptly halts. I skid to a stop as well, sliding on the surface of the wood. The guide stares at something slightly out of view. I step up to join him, following his gaze further down the path. And here we go. The subject of this run, Lou. There, curled in a little ball, illuminated by the lantern's light, cowers a person. His hands grip his head, and he rocks from side to side, mumbling incoherently.
It's a man.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I couldn't. I just couldn't. Please. I'm sorry.
Oh, man. I'm struck with an array of questions. What is going on? Why would he wander onto these bridges on his own? Did he make it this far by himself? Were there others with him? If that's somehow the case, I can't blame him for the state of shock he's in. The man stops mumbling. He glances above him, seemingly only just now having the strength to lift his head. His expression, the deepest sadness, along with the clear markings of terror, are scrawled across his face. I stare at him in shock, not sure what to do.
Leave him.
No, bro. We are keeping him. We lost 2 people to get him. We are not leaving him behind. Besides, I told my audience that we're keeping him. This is what we're here for. I snap excuse me. I snap my eyes away from the man and instead to the guide's cold, implacable face.
Haven't we lost enough as it is?
I clench my fist in exasperation, disturbance rising at the lack of concern he allows for the departed. It's as if their existence has already been wiped bare from his mind. The guide regards me piercingly. I have no intention of flinching in front of him, but there was no need to be concerned as he almost immediately turns his eyes on the newcomer. So, I'm just thinking right now, maybe I was too harsh on the guide. In an earlier run, he states that he pretty much comes out and says that he has died, I think. Like, he's died several times or he's lived for too long or something. But regardless, he guides people through the bridges, and I think it's pretty obvious after you've been through a multitude of these runs. I think it's pretty obvious that he loses a lot of people, and to not go insane, he probably has to turn off his heart to survive, assuming that, of course, that he's an actual person, that he's, a human and actually has human feelings. But we don't know that for sure. But if that were the case, that would be what you would need to do. I think if you're like a veteran or a career soldier, this, to some extent, you might have to do this. Not that I would know. I haven't joined any armed services or anything like that, but if mental health issues with veterans and stuff is to be believed, and I don't see why not, then I feel like this has to be something that you have to do to get yourself to keep moving. Oh, man. Okay. I just had to take a quick drink. Mouth is getting a little parched. Guys, my heart is really heavy right now. Okay. Alright, let's continue. The man is standing now, though still hunched with his arms wrapped around himself as if expecting a blow. He stares at the ground rather than at us. Because of this, I'm having trouble reading his face. What exactly happened to him?
Are you well, stranger? Do you know where you are and why you're here?
He glances up, not at me, but towards me, his eyes resting somewhere near my collarbone.
I'm fine. You all can go on your way. Forget you even saw me here.
No.
He lifts his head, wide eyes looking up at me incredulously.
You need a lantern in order to ward off the Nixi. The light keeps them at bay. You may come with us. I offer you my protection.
I know that this line is probably just a placeholder and can fit regardless of how many people you have in your party. But granted that we just lost 2 people, this honestly feels like an empty promise here. The guide interjects curtly.
If he is to come, then you along with him will need to travel split off from myself. You may only walk near enough to see my lantern, not my form, and no closer. I did not agree to lead this man.
Now, I know the reason he's saying this is because he did not think that Lou was strong enough for the crossing to begin with and denied him crossing. But, it seems like there's something more than meets the eye here. It feels as though there was something personal behind all of this. Raw wrath boils up within me. Why is he being so unreasonable? He should not care if this man comes along. He has never let the presence of another person impact his own safety regardless. I turn a choked gulp into a headstrong huff. I raise my eyes to glower indirectly into his. I know an opponent I cannot defeat when I duel with one, but that doesn't mean I can't make my disgust clear.
All right. We will stay behind.
I keep my voice level until the sharp bite at the end. Yeah, do you guys do this too? I totally do this, the passive-aggressive thing. I don't do it all the time. I do it just to, elicit some emotion from people sometimes. I do it just sometimes just to, turn the knife and make them, just feel irksome. And, I know that I'm the subject of their ire, but I don't care. In moments like that, I want that. I want them to feel like I've just been, indiscreetly stabbing them. And they're just there's nothing they can do about it. With just my words. Does that change the opinion you guys have of me? Who doesn't do this though? Realistically, if you do this and you have a really great story, please let me know. I would love to hear stories like this. All right, back to it. The guide makes eye contact with the newcomer one final time before turning and advancing forward, leaving us in his dimming lantern light. As I watch him move forward, I continue to seethe. My thoughts drift to all of the events that have unfolded this dreaded night. Against my own wishes, I begin to feel torn between all the regrets and sympathies I have for Bemelle and Margaret, and the acknowledgement that it is because such things happen that the guide is likely refusing to take any chances. Little does Kikka know that even if they made it to this point, the guide, would still not have wanted to help him regardless. Little did I know in the previous one, but he directly says he denied helping this guy prior to crossing, but he decided to cross anyways. But again, Kikka doesn't know this. I don't understand how I'm supposed to feel or what I am meant to do anymore. My head starts to reel, leaving me with the only option there has ever been, pushing the emotions to the corners of my mind. The mission is all that matters for now. So, I just want to say that for many people, and this is not all people, but for many people, they hold in these thoughts and feelings that, while being unexpressed, trying to hold back, it just, for some people, it festers and grows, sometimes exponentially, until you get to a point where you just can't hold it in anymore. And you basically explode, and the object to which you explode in front of or explode to could be somebody that you would not have intended to explode in front of, and end up causing more regret, more remorse, and causing an endless cycle. If you guys feel like this is what happens with you, I have to say, please find somebody or something as an outlet to let it out. Let yourself feel as human. Let yourself feel it, process it, and then put it away. You might still feel it, but hopefully having expressed it and felt whatever emotion that you were having subsides in power and doesn't take you over, and that it becomes small enough that you can handle it. Mental health is really important, but it's something that I feel like as a society, as a world, as a people, we are only now getting to a point where people are actually starting to take it seriously. So please take your mental health seriously, and please take care of yourselves. If there's nobody else in the world, you're the only person that can take care of yourself, and you, just like everybody else, deserve it. And do treat yourself kindly. Don't try to be something you're not, and try to, be that person who takes it on the chin and lets it go if you're not that type of person. Just do it in a safe and productive way, please. Okay, guys? Thanks. I release another bated breath and just barely shake my head. You should go after him. I widen my eyes, startled.
What?
I don't know why he's not talking. Is there something wrong with my game? Let me just save real quick, just to see if this is a thing. Let me just save here. And let's load the game and see if that fixes his voice. Alright, let me go back one.
What?
No. I wonder if maybe my game is bugged or something. Alright, I guess I'll read his things for now. There's still time. You should go after him. Staying with me isn't worth it. I study him, momentarily speechless from the madness of his suggestion.
No. I'm not going to let you die out here. I'll do whatever it takes to ensure your safety.
At that, the bit of power he had seems to have been whisked off his shoulder like a thin cape. He shrinks back into himself, silent once more. It is a relief to have this matter fully settled. I'd be damned if I let him stroll off into certain early end.
We should start walking. That should be enough of a head start for him.
Yeah, Kikka really doesn't want to lose anybody else. She is one of those people that, I think if there were a burning building and there were people inside, she would rush in and try to save them to the best of her ability, to the risk of her life. I feel like this is the type of person that Kikka is, and she does not, especially after losing Bemelle and Margaret, she doesn't want to lose yet another person. I don't think that her heart could take it. I can barely take it, and I'm just playing a game.
What are you doing out here without the guide?
Perhaps the question isn't appropriate to ask. After all, Only the darkest of circumstances spurs someone to cross Sinnlos. But this situation is very strange. I might even go so far as to say it's suspicious. I know that's not fair, but I can't help it. Years anticipating danger have made me wary.
That's a good question. I'm not sure I know myself.
I'm so glad. I don't know why he wasn't reading the lines earlier. Maybe the devs forgot it? I don't know.
What does that mean? Is that some sort of joke too? Or do you genuinely not remember how you arrived where you are?
No, it wasn't a joke. Well, there is a point to it all.
Then his voice, already by nature light and airy, drops to a whisper.
But I don't know why I even tried. You'd think that I'd be able to call a spade already, right?
I think this is just him trying to, like psych himself, trying to justify himself. I feel like as people, that's something that we try to do. Like, things have to happen for a reason, right? It can't just all be chaos. I mean, depending on what you subscribe to as far as philosophy, that might be the case, but for most of us, I don't think that's how we feel. He looks up, noticing my gaze still leveled at him. Then he shrugs.
I'd rather not talk about it.
As what has become the norm, I don't fully understand what he means, but I can at least guess that he's not very happy with himself at present. And like it or not, he won't be sharing his real reasons with me.
What about you? What brings you out on this little adventure?
Whew, what a question.
People. On the other side. People who need my help.
You have someone waiting on you? Then why are you risking yourself on me instead of worrying about what's going to happen to them?
You know, I hadn't thought about this earlier, but he thinks so lowly of himself that he thinks that he's not worth anybody's effort, anybody's time. And I know a lot of people feel this way. I know there was a time where I felt like I was in the same situation, that I didn't matter, that nothing I do or nothing that happened to me made any like a difference to anybody. And it's a very dark place. It's very difficult to get out of. I was fortunate and lucky. I had a lot of people who loved me and who noticed and tried to help. And to say that everything they did was productive to get me out would be a lie. But I will say that having people who love you and want to help you is much more powerful than you think it is in the moment. I hope that I'm sorry if I'm just going on and on, but you know, I feel very strongly about the situation. I hope that, you know, I feel as though I can relate to Lou in this manner. Fortunately, not in my current place in my life right now, but I do know that this is something that people feel on a daily basis. And I hope that if that is you, that you do seek help. Especially in today's age, there are many resources out there. Please reach out. Even if it's just your friend, like you can't afford maybe a professional, just start with a friend. Maybe just talk to them. Let them know your feelings. If your friend truly cares about you, they will listen. Trust me, they will listen. And if they don't listen, believe this, they were not a true friend. Or they're not ready to be a good friend to you. But regardless of the outcome, that's something that you should know. If you don't have anybody like that, there are plenty of people out there that are willing to listen. And there are plenty of resources out there. Wherever you are, I'm sure there's plenty of resources, and even online, to different degrees of effectiveness, but It's out there. Please look for it if you need it, please. Okay. I think I just put my heart on my sleeve right there. Okay. Okay, let's continue. I feel my brows furrow from my speck of alarm. Is that really what he took from this? I survey his face with a flick of my eyes, but there is no mischievous gleam to his look now. He's serious. We hold eye contact for a moment until he yet again stares down at the ground.
Sorry. I didn't mean to be disrespectful. It just fell out somehow. I wasn't...
Sorry.
Sorry. I didn't mean to be disrespectful. It just fell out somehow. I wasn't thinking.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I misclicked there. Yeah, so... Yeah. He's important. Everybody as a human is important to somebody. You know, or should be. We should all take care of each other. But nobody can take care of you if you aren't willing to take care of yourself first. Because if you can learn to value yourself, people will see the value in you as well. If you find no value in yourself, and some people do, after a time, they're going to get to a point where you convince them that you're right. I guess you're right. You're not of value. Why am I even giving my effort? Because obviously it's not working. You know, take some time for yourself. Get your mental well-being in order. Try to reach out. I'm sorry. I'm just preaching at this point. I'm sorry, guys. His stare shoots back up at me, eyes wide.
Of course I'm going to be there for those counting on me. But you aren't nothing. I won't simply turn my back on you.
Yeah, there's a lot of people like Kikka in the world. Like, I know this is a work of fiction, but there are people out there that really truly care about others, and they're willing to even volunteer to listen and help other people out as much as they are able. He smiles sadly, the kind of smile only someone who has experienced great hardship has. A smile I'm all too familiar with.
I probably have to disagree. Still, that's nice of you to say.
We may not know each other well, but you wanted us to go on without you for our own safety. You even tried to have a sense of humor about it. That counts for something.
Indeed it does, Kikka. My statement is far from grand, yet he becomes distinctly bashful all of the sudden, twitching his legs with each step. He hangs his head and mumbles his next phrase. Sadly, he seems unaccustomed to receiving praise.
That's true. Thank you for staying back with me. It's kind of nice.
Boy, it is totally not just nice, but generous and gracious and all of that.
No need to thank me.
Oh, right. I can't even show gratitude correctly. Of course.
I go to give him a look, but he's smiling. He looks less pitiful than usual. He almost seems content. While crossing Sinnlos? How? Why?
It is not funny to make a joke out of thinking that way about yourself.
And Kikka's spouting truth here. You know? Like, everybody has a point where they think lowly of themselves, and they are wrong. They are totally wrong. Everybody has something redeemable about themselves.
If you don't want people to say things like that, then you shouldn't reject their things. Either I did right by thanking you, or I did wrong.
Ah, you slick boy.
Fine. You're welcome.
Gotcha, Kikka. This time, he lets out a real laugh, though a short one.
I'm glad.
He stretches his arms out in front of him and elongates his strides so he's walking a bit ahead of me. It sits wrong with me. He's relaxed and completely unguarded. He's even fine with distancing himself from the light and all the odd comments he has said so far. Now, yeah, that does seem suspicious, but I mean, if you look at it in this point of view, that he finally has found someone who, despite his protestations, has said that he's important, that he matters, that he is worth somebody's effort. And for someone who was at a point where he was resigned to basically allow himself to perish, like going from I'm gonna be erased from existence and nobody's gonna care to, hey, here's someone who truly has a heart and cares, like, truly about me. Maybe not, like, definitely not as like romantic love, but love for a person, for being themselves, not knowing anything except that they exist. Of course he's going to be elated to have that feeling. That's something that he's probably never felt before in his life. And to finally get it here, yes, while crossing Sinnlos, but still, it's an incredible feeling to have someone acknowledge you, to appreciate you, no matter in what circumstance. Like, if you're working and someone honestly and heartfelt gives you thank you for the work that you've done, that hits home, guys. That really hits home. Or for a colleague to recognize the skill that you have, it's an incredible feeling. And for him to feel that probably for the first time, I'm sure, like, he could be walking through the fires and pits of hell and he'd probably be happy right now. Then a thought strikes me. Maybe the reason he's so calm is that he doesn't care what happens to him. My heart plummets into my gut. Okay, so Kikka also has a point there too, so I don't know which is true, but I guess we'll find out. For a time, there is a relative peace in the silence between us. Then Lou sighs heavily.
I never could have seen myself in a situation like this. It seems things really aren't over until they're over.
Did you think it was over?
I'm sure he did. He doesn't answer immediately. When he does, the reply is accompanied by him grasping himself, like he might fall apart if he lets go. Yeah, guys, this is the type of thing that people do. They hold on to their thoughts, their opinions, and things that they think that will make them appear undesirable or weak or wrong. And yeah, I mean, there is a benefit to that, and that, like, people may not like pick on you or call you out, but it eats at you, looking down at yourself, hating yourself, that eats at you little by little, and over time it eats away at all of you.
Yeah, I did.
Until you get to the point where Lou, feels like it's all over for him. That would have been the normal outcome in this situation. Alone, lightless. I shouldn't have asked. Yeah, he knew in his heart that he was dead, because like she said, he's all alone. He's got no light. He's not with the guide. He's out on Sinnlos. Like, everything was going against him. I must have let a frown slip through, because Lou smiles a non-smile. He stretches his hand behind his neck and gives a little chuckle.
Something really is wrong with me. Somehow, I feel lighter.
That's the feeling of closeness to somebody who you have feelings toward. No, again, it doesn't have to be romantic, but you can feel a connection. You can feel close to somebody, and it just feels different than, just somebody you just met. Although, I guess you could feel that way about someone you just met. Love at first sight kind of thing. Alright, well, maybe this is good. If he's feeling better than he was, then perhaps his view of himself will improve. Yes, hopefully so. The whispers from the lake, which had already grown, now speak faster and clearer. The individual words are almost audible. I'd likely be able to make them out if I knew the Nix language. For a split second, I wish I did. The light in the distance still drifts along in the same manner as it did when we first started walking, which I take to mean the path hasn't turned so far. Hopefully that means we're still on the right path. But the light, it got brighter? It's strong enough that I have to glance away for a second, and the next time I look, the light has grown. The bridge is on fire. I grab Lou's arm without thinking. He's standing there stiff, staring at the glow, eyes dull.
We're going to run.
To hell with the guide's order. If we don't go now, we will never go anywhere again. Lou doesn't respond. I give his arm a small tug and he appears to come to himself when he nods at me. I make the decision, then, that I won't let go of his arm. I don't know what'll happen to him if I do. We take off, the heat growing with each step. The darkness of the bridge means that the fire is spreading slowly, but it makes me question how it began in the first place. There is no end to how wrong this place is. It takes 20 paces before the air around us ripples, then starts folding into itself. Thick smoke pours over us, stinging like scorpions in my eyes. I cover my mouth with my free arm to keep breathing, and soon we're at the fire itself. The bridge lurches beneath us, as if the beams supporting it are starting to give way to the thousands of flying sparks. Lou stumbles and pulls against me for support, but we keep our ground. I start pulling him through the blaze. We don't have time to gather our bearings. Who knows how long we have until the bridge collapses or is devoured by flames. We keep our pace, racing against the bridges, but there's no sign of the guide anywhere. I begin to fear that we may never be able to catch up with him. I know how quickly he moves, and Lou keeps nearly falling as we make our way past the flames. I tighten my grip on him and push those thoughts out of my mind. I just need to keep moving forward. We will make it out of here. We keep down the path, the flames still gradually gnawing on the planks behind us. The guide doesn't turn up, nor do any signs of him, but we push on. We will not stop moving. Then we do. The bridge comes to a dead end of rotted out boards, collapsed into the lake. For a moment, our breathing stops at once. If this was the way that led to the island, then... I flip back to face Lou, my expression unaffected. I'm not going to allow panic to sap us of judgment.
Let's look for another bridge.
I resolutely begin retracing our path. He follows without protest. Our regression is silent except for our footfalls and the snapping of soggy wood attempting to burn. We frequently have to step over smoldering sections trying to come alight. At one point, we even have to walk one at a time, sideways, to avoid a wildly flickering small fire billowing out black smoke. Just as my spirit is beginning to dim, we come across different directions to take. Among all the forks, there are only two that aren't collapsed or too consumed by fire to risk following. Lou's gaze is flickering down each path. There's a palpable sense of anxiety coming from him.
I don't know. I don't know which way.
Oh man, neither do I. You know what? It's time to save. Let's save just in case I make the wrong decision here. Okay.
It's all right.
Yeah. This is not on you. This just, shiz happens, and no one's blaming you right now. I mean, how did the fire start? We know how the fire started, but they don't know how the fire started. But it's not all right. We have to make something. We have to have something to go off of. Anything at all. A cold sweat trickles its way down my back. Before either of us can think further, a noise catches my attention. I hastily address Lou.
Did you hear that? It came from the right.
Oh, the guide. Lou and I trade looks. This could be the signal we need. But what if it isn't?
Do those monsters know how to whistle?
We should go right, I think, to where the sound came from.
I'm a little surprised Lou is offering his own opinion. It is good to hear, however. I take a deep breath.
I agree. There's more of a chance the whistle was a sign for good over ill.
I agree. Our course decided, we move as one down the right path, no longer hesitating. As we follow the bridge down, there is no sign of the end. There's no need to debate between directions again. We start to outpace the fire, one danger thankfully fading away, but the night continues to lighten regardless. I glance at the sky and realize what's happening. The sun is rising. The bridges will sink into the water as the darkness disappears and takes us with them. We'll be lost. It suddenly seems pointless. We didn't really even know where. Sorry. I got a little too amped there. Give me a second. Woo! We don't even know whether we've gone the right way, and we still haven't caught up to the guide. We can't outswim the Nixi, and we can't outrun the dawn. We're going to run out of time. Yet, we keep moving forward. And finally, our perseverance is rewarded. The silhouette of an island rises in the distance. The island grows rapidly larger, and soon the scents of earth and trees reach us. In spite of all the horrors of this night, a dock emerges from the fog before us, welcoming us to safety. We reach the shore. I don't believe it until I've stepped off the wood and my boot sinks into the sand. I work further inland like a corpse, my sole instinct to flee from the waterline. My hazy eyes single in on something ahead. The guide stands on an outcropping in the distance, watching like a sentinel. He doesn't even come to greet us. I stare at him for a moment, not even able to feel alarmed at my own lack of feelings about the situation. He uses his staff to gesture to the forest behind him before disappearing between the trees. I can only assume he must be asking me to follow. The guide takes us further inland, more towards the center. There's a view of the coastline from here, but we're also partially obscured by a few trees.
It's time to sleep.
No one has the energy to argue with him at this point. I find a place as comfortable as one could ask for in a location like this, next to one of the trees further out, and lay down, trying to block out my thoughts. For once, exhaustion is my ally, and I slip off into sleep. My eyes slowly blink open and readjust to the brightness, what little there is. The sun is obscured by a thick layer of fog, making it impossible to estimate the time of day. I prop up my elbows and push myself up. The ground is hard and rocky, but that isn't the only reason I'm eager to get on my feet. I check my surroundings. The harsh, craggy earth of the island is interlaced with twisting vines and gnarled branches. Beside me, Lou is still fast asleep. The guide, however, is nowhere to be seen. I realize that I don't recall seeing him lay down with everyone. It's likely he left us hours ago. There's a creeping silence here. I can't help but shudder at the hollow, aching feeling inside of me. It refuses to relent. I shift my weight back and forth, unsure of what to do with myself. Memories of last night's harrowing journey flicker through my mind. I notice Lou begin to stir. Lou props himself up into a sitting position. He doesn't move to rise any further. My mouth opens, then shuts, and after a moment of fumbling, a word finally escapes.
Hello.
No reaction.
We should eat something soon.
Don't worry about me. I'm fine. I'm not hungry.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be a bother. He already doesn't have high enough opinion of himself to keep himself alive, so he doesn't want to take away somebody else's chance of survival, even if it means it's just a little something to eat. You know, that's just how he's been feeling about himself. Lou's back is turned against me. He still hasn't gotten up out of the dirt.
You won't make it very far if you don't have something to eat.
That is true. I tell my wife all the time, you need calories to be able to live. Lou buries his head deeper into his knees as he curls into a tighter ball.
No thanks.
I don't know what to do. There's a lull of silence between us. A distinct rustling of the leaves around catches my attention. The guide appears, emerging from the thicket. Lou doesn't seem to notice as he's still facing away.
The Nixi will not tread on land in daylight. However, being near the shoreline is still dangerous. If you leave the center of the island, remain cautious. Before the sun sets, I will be in this area. It would be wise to meet me here before nightfall.
I motionlessly watch the guide. He considers his piece here finished. The guide turns around and turns to the forested area from which he came. Lou meekly calls to me. I turn around to face him, though I don't speak. He's standing some distance away. He fidgets and glances over to the side before returning his gaze to my eyes. He gestures for me to come closer. He begins to whisper at me, but he fumbles with his words, and I can't make out anything he says. I look at him inquisitively. Finally, he speaks up enough to be clear.
I'm sorry for what happened last night.
Bro, honestly, I'm thinking about it. What is there for him to be sorry for? We came upon him, in this instance, we came upon him after Bemelle and Margaret have already gone. The only thing that really changed with his presence is that we couldn't follow closely with the guide. But we still made it to safety, so I don't know. He speaks quickly as he looks up at me, eyes filled with sorrow. He shifts his focus downwards.
You would have been better off without me.
I don't know. He gave a resolute answer, or at least sounded confident enough that Kikka was struck, and was like, whoa, he made a choice. So I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll find out eventually.
Do you mean when I had to stay behind?
Yes, you got caught up in the fire and it was a disaster.
Well, that's not to say that wouldn't have happened regardless.
It's all right. Nothing happened in the end. Besides, it isn't your fault that things turned out this way.
No, it isn't.
It was closer to being my fault than anyone else's. I wasn't supposed to be here, and all I did was get in the way. The guide was right about me. I knew from the beginning that it would be like this too. I never should have stayed.
Finishing his thought, he sniffles as he turns away. Suddenly, I feel a strong surge of emotions rip through me. Everything is falling apart and I do not have the power to change this. Girl, I was feeling like that too. I really was. Quietly, I speak. Let's say, Lou, wait. I try to speak further, but Lou interrupts me.
I appreciate what you did. I've never had someone stand up for me like that before. Thank you.
You're welcome. I don't know what to say. The losses we suffered are still so fresh in my mind. I cannot truly take joy in what I have done over the course of this journey. Lou smiles slightly.
I'm all right. I could take care of myself, and you should take care of yourself too. I'm sure you can make it, and I won't get in your way again.
So, hindsight being 2020, I know he's saying this to make Kikka feel better, but this is exactly what he was doing on the bridge earlier. Like, don't worry about me. Don't think about me. I'm gonna die anyways. I'm gonna sacrifice myself because I don't want to be the reason that you die. Like, and looking at it now, you can kind of see it in his voice. Or, sorry, not in his voice. You can see it in the picture. He's like got that like, I suck. I'm not worth it. I'm just holding everyone back. Look, in the portrait.
I need to be off now. Goodbye.
No, man. He walks away and I let him go. I know not what I could say to change his mind. I think it would be better if I can be alone for a bit anyway. It seems as though my wish to be alone will be granted. There's no sign that they will be returning. A cold chill somehow whips its way down my back, despite the calm of the air. I keep my gaze on the dark ground, taking a breath so deep It stings the back of my throat. As I steadily empty my lungs, I try to empty my mind of all thoughts. I do not know what I'm doing anymore. Nothing is straightforward. I find something familiar and powerful in my thoughts and latch on. The mission. I have to try and focus on the mission. I need to be strong. My eyes dart back up. Is someone watching? I wonder if I'm afraid of being seen struggling like this, or if I hope I may not be on my own here. It doesn't matter. There's still nothing but the silent island. Time seems so indefinite around me, passing slowly. On this island, it almost seems to move slow as a stagnant pond. I shake my head, burying the thought. It's irrational, but I cannot bear to think of even old pond water. Gradually, my consciousness begins to include the world again. I do a few standard warm-up stretches, testing my mind and body. I don't know how long it's been, but I feel I have regained enough of my wits to continue on. I need to make sure everything is all right. I head through the wooded part of the island. There isn't anything that could be called a path, but I manage to pick my way through the bush quite well. Through a thinner stand of trees, I briefly catch sight of the guide standing on one of the beaches. He seems fine, but even though I'm sure he turned his head toward me, he makes no show of acknowledging me. I continue my check without heeding that. Alright, boy, don't tell me. This is feeling very familiar. I'm getting a bunch of deja vu. Don't tell me what I think you're about to tell me. I find that I've been pacing back and forth for quite some time. I finished my check a while ago, so now I've got nothing left to do but aimlessly wander. I'm overcome with restlessness. This island may be safer than the bridges, but that is far from enough to ease my mind. I quietly sigh and decide to wait on my own. If I go back now, whoever I encounter will know that I don't want to be alone. That is more troubling than simply staying where I am. I sit down and silently listen to the ambience of the island as I wait for the time to pass. I can only hope this will all end before I can no longer keep myself together. The sun begins to descend in the sky, and the light starts to fade into the fog. I feel relieved that it is almost time to leave this island. A chill slips down my spine at the thought of what comes next, however. It isn't too long before I hear someone approaching from within the bush. It's the guide. He emerges from the bushes and steps out into the open.
Hello.
Don't tell me. Dude, don't tell me. He doesn't respond to my greeting. Instead, he narrows his eyes, causing the tension to rise that much further.
Lou is gone. He's dead.
No! Bro, we came all this way and he's dead. Dude. Okay. Oh. Well. I nearly fall backwards from his words.
What?
Okay. I think... Oh, man. I think we've just hit a point where it's the... Man. Okay. Well, I'm going to save here. There's something I wanted to take a look at anyways. I wanted to see... We're going to skip, but I wanted to see what happens on the second half of the journey. Because every time Kikka has gotten separated from everyone else. And every time I pick the same path in order to get to freedom. I trust the guide. But what happens if we change it up and we don't trust the guide? What happens then? So we're going to find out because unfortunately Lou is gone. So we're just going to skip through and see what happens. All right. Let's... Guys, I am so disappointed right now. I thought we were going to keep him alive. But I guess his ego was just too fragile, thinking that he was the reason that everything went wrong. I wonder if we had Bemelle and Margaret with us, would this still be the case? Would he still, like, off himself? Like, I'm not sure. I think that'll be something we explore in a later run. But yeah, dude. All right, I'm gonna skip forward and let's see what happens here. Oh. Seconds tick by and the guide says nothing as my panic pounds harder, and takes full control of my mind. This is not possible. No, this is a mistake.
We have to go look for him.
I would not claim this without good reason. Wait and you'll see. Night will fall and Lou will not come to meet us.
Oh, so you're just guessing.
We are the only two remaining.
Or do you know something? I do sink down to the ground at that. All my thoughts, the sound of my breath coming in and out, and my very heartbeat forming 2 letters. No. 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 I cup my hands against my head. Why? I look up to the towering, stoic face of the guide, begging for an explanation. Something. Anything but this. He gives no comfort. My tears start and stop from one moment to the next with the wildly tumultuous emotions. I am in brutal agony, bawling my eyes out and shouting indecipherably. Then I am feeling nothing, laying in a cool void where everything seems inconsequential and so far away from me. Bemelle, Margaret, Lou. The heartbeat comes back. I have failed. I have failed them. I failed every single one of them. I couldn't help anyone. I sniff back deeply, tears falling down my face once more. I manage a small miracle. I stand. The guide says nothing. I'm left with just my own thoughts and the heartbeat softly drumming as we wait for the tortuous bridges to surface. I lean against the tree, slowly reminding myself how to walk again as the time runs by too fast or drags on too slow. A blanket of stars slowly creeps over the horizon. As the day truly descends into night, I still hold onto a desperate, unreasonable flicker of hope that eventually Lou will appear through the bushes, ready to continue the journey. He never does. My hope is blown out by the wind rushing across the lake. Suddenly, there's a gurgling. The water parts as the bridges of Sinnlos rise, powered by some unnatural force, creaking like they might fall apart. We walk onto the wide open shore. Wow. Kikka's she's really like killing herself over this. I feel so bad for her. So bad. Oh, man. Oh. Excuse me. Excuse me. Okay. I'm not sure if we can skip again. Thick, inky water sloshes reluctantly off the boards, bleeding back into the lake until finally it stills. Alright, let's see if it skips here. No. I feel an inexplicable pounding, like a hammer in the back of my head, beating faster and heavier than my own heart. I clench my teeth to stop it from churning my stomach. The guide is quick to return to the bridges, making haste towards them. That gets my attention.
The island is no longer safe now that the sun has set. We must leave.
Oh, guys, man. I understand what he is saying. Still, I return my attention to the lake. For a moment, I listen to the near silence of the water, steeling myself for what is to come. Then I place my feet firmly onto the dock. Against what any natural instincts would advise me, I have returned to the misty labyrinth of the bridges. I try to synchronize my inhalations with my footfalls to steady my breathing. The guide and I make no attempts to converse with one another. We are as quiet as the lake we are crossing. It feels as though barely any time has passed when I realize that half the night has crept by. We encountered a few sunken bridges which forced us to reroute, while other paths were rotten enough to make us stagger our steps. Right, I think this part is the same. So let's see. No? Okay. I'm just reeling still. We lost everybody. I was trying to keep Lou, and we lost him too, and I feel like Kikka, like we've completely failed everyone. However, the biggest threat of all is eerily absent, the Prowlers. I haven't seen more than shadowy glimpses of them down the other paths, and even those may have simply been tricks of the fog. I feel I may be even more on edge tonight than the last. I ponder whether they're still weary from the consuming blaze that lit up the night yesterday, or if they are less dragging themselves across the bridges than usual because many have already gotten what they wanted. My skin crawls with the touch of icy fingers at that thought, and I can't control the sharp shiver that travels down my spine. I look ahead towards the guide, pensively before coming to a decision.
Where might the Prowlers be?
He doesn't respond. Perhaps he didn't hear me? I debate whether to repeat my question or not before he suddenly replies.
Allowing others to die is an easy path to follow. It is keeping them alive that makes it so difficult for one to cross Sinnlos.
Dude, he said that so nonchalantly. Like, I get it. Like, you know, I'm sure a lot of people have died under his charge, but you know, for the people that are making it through, there's a lot going on. Even for a warrior like Kikka, like this is not an everyday occurrence for them. For the guide, perhaps. I mean, for all we know, a lot of this is his doing. That isn't an answer to my question. Its vagueness feels intentional. His avoidance doesn't stop the horrifying realization from coming to my mind. I still live because they died. This isn't right. I try to swallow, but my mouth is a desert. Oh, I feel you, girl. Mine is too. It shouldn't have happened like this. I promised I would protect everyone, not benefit from their deaths. Every step on the damp wood, my feet feel more like lead. I feel the weight of them on my feet, like I'm dragging their remains with me as they wonder why we could not help them. My body moves unbidden, unable to stop even with the thoughts in tatters. The notion that something might still be out there, that all of this could come to an end, calls me onward. After hours of navigating the complex mazes of bridges, the faint silhouette of the shore creeps into view. My eyes widen at the sight. It is almost unbelievable that we could have come this far. The guide increases his pace, and I cautiously follow suit. We near the very end of the bridges. I can smell the trees and the earth, and even through the fog, I can almost count the remaining bridges between us and land. Oh, shoot! But between the end and us, a prowler appears. I eye the monster intently. It makes no move to leave us, so I turn to the guide instead.
Here, take my lantern. Once it's scared off, we'll make our way to the shore. It shouldn't be an issue with it so close by.
The guide says nothing. However, he extends his hand to accept my offer. I feel my body tense for a moment before relinquishing my light to the guide. It's not much further. I'm sure we can make it. Oh, I don't know, girl. I don't know. You never know. It's always at the end where something happens. I don't know. I'm feeling like I gotta save. I don't know. I have no reason behind why I'm saving. I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like something's gonna happen and it's like time to save. Time to save. Time to save. The guide slowly steps ahead. He and the creature brace for confrontation. I stay close enough to the guide's back to keep from being left behind in the darkness. Oh, dude, I just had a thought. What if this is his endgame? Like he just took the light from Kikka? What if he's in league with these prowlers? That's it for her. This is it. This is the end. He quietly whispers.
Be ready to run. Don't get left behind.
Okay. Maybe I thought too much into it. He then darts forward and launches the light directly at the prowler. It makes a snarling hiss as it retreats, defeated back into the black waters. Neither of us waste even a second looking back. We push forward. I race across the bridges, desperately trying to keep the guide's light-edged figure in clear sight. I run as fast as I can possibly manage without slipping on the boards. We run across the entire way, spurred on by the shoreline rapidly approaching. Miraculously, I feel my feet plunge into dirt. I stumble forwards, nearly collapsing onto the ground while reaching to catch my breath. It feels as though I've come out of a long dream. We made it. After a moment of processing everything that just happened and pulling myself together, I rise fully to my feet and stand tall. I turn back towards the lake. Fog drifts across the empty, stagnant waters, as menacing as when I first laid eyes on it. I can't bear to tear my eyes from the sight. It's as though reality halts as I stare deeply at the surface. I shake away the sensation. I'm alive. I've made it across, and now I will be able to unite the villagers and remove the brigadiers. But at what cost? My mind turns over itself. I can still faintly feel wet, rigid hands on my ankle, a ghostly reminder of the Nixi. I know the hands are not real, but that doesn't loosen their grip. My feelings simmer beneath my own surface, fighting for dominance. Gratitude, anger, relief, guilt, hope, and sorrow are all battling inside of me. They pull in so many different emotions at once that I can't even think. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. My turmoil abruptly ends at the sound of the guide's voice.
You can't stay.
I finally rip my eyes away from the lake. I fix them instead directly on the guide.
There is nothing left for you here. You must return to the world and leave this place behind.
That feels kind of like advice that you would give a soldier in a war. Like, you're leaving the battlefield now. Leave what happened here and move on with your life because there's nothing you can do. It feels like that's what the guide is saying, which to me kind of takes away from the thought that he might be working with the Nixi, although I can't 100% strike that as a possibility, because leaving one survivor to get across leaves somebody with a story to tell that says, hey, it's possible to get across. All of my words are stuck sorely in my throat. I'm completely parched and my mouth is threatening to close in on itself. He fills the silence once more. Yeah, honestly, my throat is also kind of parched. Man, I've been playing for an hour and a half already? Jeez. Ah, dude. No wonder I'm like dry and parched, just like Kikka. Give me a second, I'm just gonna take a quick sip of water. Whoa, man.
I expect to never see you again.
Yeah, dude, if I went through this, you'd never see me again either. But he knew people were gonna. To be fair, he did say that he couldn't guarantee anybody gets through. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this and how I feel about him. He's so like, he's such an ambiguous character. The guide looks at me harshly, almost pleadingly, as he gazes into my eyes. Oh, it's a warning. Like a warning, not angrily, just like it said, pleadingly. He doesn't want people to keep crossing the bridges, which, to be fair, people honestly shouldn't be crossing the bridges. Sure, it is a shortcut over 2-3 days? No, 4 days. It cuts 4 days of travel into 2 days of travel, but with what you have to go through, is that really the best? Honestly, I'd just rather take the extra 2 days and get there a lot safer. And maybe, what if... Now, stick with me here. What if him being the guide over Sinnlos is his, eternal punishment? And what if his punishment is to try to lead people over the bridges and watch them die forever? And what if his only way of escaping this fate is to have people never cross Sinnlos again? Right? That's a theory, isn't it? I don't know if I'm right, but guys, dude, all I can offer is a slow, weak nod. I don't want this to be the way things are. I can't accept it. I'm consumed by a whirlpool of thoughts. I wasn't able to help anyone. I am entirely alone. As I continue to stare at the guide, tears well up in my eyes and threaten to spill over. He gives me no acknowledgement at all. I wipe the feeling from my face completely. I must continue on. I have no other choice left before me. On quaking legs, I march forward solemnly into the forest. I do not look back even once at that cursed lake during my retreat. However, I offer one last word.
Farewell.
Yeah. Wow. Dude, that hit me right here. I whisper softly, almost silently. It's a bitter farewell to all those who failed to escape the darkness and are lost forever. I can scarcely remember the rest of the trip. All I know for sure is that I did arrive in Hemmer in time to help. They were grateful to see me, for it was a desperate situation indeed. The urgency meant that my mind was occupied with other matters. I worked tirelessly to aid Hemmer's own guards in forcing back the brigadiers, but during the moments of calm, and when the sun went down, I would remember the lake. The villagers were alarmed when I arrived on my own, but it did not take long to guess what must have happened to Bemelle. Soon, their suspicions of what transpired were confirmed, as leaders in the community need to be made aware of what occurs on Sinnlos in case they have lost one of their own. The townsfolk were deeply sympathetic towards me after learning that I was there to witness 3 souls being lost to the dark waters. It was a slight comfort. The guilt at my failure remained sharp, even still. I have not heard nor seen the guide since then. He will remain obscured in that realm of fog and fear, a mysterious light off in the distance that is ever out of reach of the real world. I know that I will return to my village soon. Despite my own feelings, I must not let them know how this journey has affected me. I need to be strong. There is no other way. Wow, dude, can you believe this is a free game? Oh my god, I got so engrossed in that. I didn't even know I've been playing for an hour and a half, and man, Alyssa Park, the voice of Kikka, man, with that last farewell, ooh, I really felt that one. I really did. Did you? Dude, I just got so invested in these characters. I still don't know, what's going on in the background, but, oh, jeez. it's unfortunate we couldn't get Lou to the end and get him across. Can he get across? I don't know. Is that a thing? Or does he always die? I don't know. But in any case, I think what we're going to do is in the next run, yes, there will be another run. What we're going to do is we're going to get Margaret, or try to get Margaret across, and try to be closer to her. So I know that in the altruistic Kikka, we were able to get her across also, but in that one, I was kind of just like picking randomly. I was trying to get closer to Bemelle, but he ended up, So this time, or in the next run, I'm gonna try to get closer to Margaret, and I think a good start is with the way that we lost Bemelle. Like, she started becoming our homegirl at that point, So I think that's a good way to start it, and we'll continue from there. I don't know if that will change things once we get to the center island. We'll continue to do skipping around. I know this one. Honestly, this one wasn't that much shorter than my run when I was just reading everything, but now that we've seen a lot, I think much more of it will come across. I was anticipating that just like in the other runs, Kikka gets separated from the guide. So yeah, so again, in the next one, we're gonna go over with Margaret. We're gonna try, not only are we gonna try to get it to the other side, but we're also going to try to be like, BFFs and stuff. So we'll see how far we get. Yeah, guys, I hope you've enjoyed. I hope you were also as engrossed in the story as I am and in the characters. Again, this is a free game. Can you believe that? I'm blown away at the level of love that went into this game, and I really appreciate it. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Again, I'm sorry. I hope you guys will come back and join me for the next one, because I know that this is gonna be like just like hitting you on your emotions and your heartstrings. But I'll see you in the next one, and until then, everyone, bye.